Good morning to day 220. 220. So this morning, just finishing off the holes in the showers for the tilers. The tilers have got to come back and put one row above, and they're due to come in to finish off the floors. So, as I said yesterday, we're actually taking the floors down by about ½ an inch, just so we don't have to lose so much height. The other one's been done, so I'll show you that in a second, and this one's going to start in a second as well. Didn't have to do it, but I just thought the least amount of height we come up, the better. We've had the first fill and paint on here, but there's still quite a bit of imperfections all over the wall, so unfortunately we're going to have to sand, or to fill and sand that today. But we need to do that sooner rather than later, so we're going to crack on with that. Floor and fit out as soon as possible. In here, what I say, was plasterboarded, but it's not finished off. We need to obviously get the finish the actual filling, so we can actually get sanding that down. The pocket is being drilled out. Last night I did 3/4 of it. As I say in Snatch, goes through bone like butter. So yeah, that trims it off very nicely. Guys are up there doing the support and the ceiling for the extractor. We've closed up some of the doors where some of the furniture is, as I said yesterday. And Smithy and Tyson are in here, just chasing out the floor here so we can actually get that correct. Let me show a 3-inch gap around to allow for like a little trough of flow all the way around. So the guys will build a slight fall, so when the water comes down it will fall in. The trap will be recut into here and sit in the floor here, and then they'll raise that into a flow so that the water will come off the wall here, off the shower screen here, off the wall there, and the water should run down to that. So they'll make that at some stage in the next day or two. I need that done sooner rather than later, just purely because Smithy was here half hour before you, working hard. You late again today? You late again today? So in here again, it's had a paint and a sand. It's a lot better than next door, so we might get away with just carry on painting on here. But obviously tomorrow, or some stage this afternoon, I want to try and build the framework in here for the cistern. So 2x2 framework in here that I'll take down to the actual the toilet sink. That will be a storage area on top, but obviously will house the actual the toilet cistern itself, and potentially I might build some shelves in the front. I don't know yet. And then obviously then we'll have the sink unit and the inbuilt sink here, and a mirror on the wall there, but we can't do any of that until this is obviously finished on a paint front. So they're finishing that now, and I'm going to come in and get that done. Again, I might get these ones boarded up as well. These rooms, to a certain extent, they're not finished. Obviously we still got marking on the walls for paint, and we still got to get these bits finished, but I do want to start getting them tidied and getting them boarded up so that we don't get them covered in dust. This is going to be finished off from a plasterboard point of view. I thought we would have got that done last night. But anyway, you're done in here. Just got the ceiling to do. In here was done. And as far as I'm aware, the side is done as well. So again, that's ready for a skim and paint. But I want everybody focusing in there first. Bedroom's number 1. Bathroom's number 2. Master bedroom number 3. Kitchen number 4, because we're going to start trying to put the kitchen in. If we can, we're going to try and put the kitchen in on Saturday. So we've got from now until Saturday to get this, at least the ceiling, boarded, skimmed, sanded and painted. So I can start working down here without getting covered in paint. John and his team are going to be coming to install the doors in here. These ones are in. We've still got to build the little, we're going to do some little packers on here. Because we had to come away on the track by 2 inches, we've now got an 1.5 inch gap here, believe it or not. So we've got to pack these out on these little lines that have been made. We've got to do little 1.5 inch packers all the way down. We'll then mount the actual return on there, fix the backboard onto the back of the door, and then we can fix the foam behind that and sand and paint. And then today what we've got to try and do if we can, and we've got the wood, is to build a 2x4 framework that comes down from floor to ceiling all the way along here to here. And that will be housing the electrics, and also will be plasterboarded. From an external point of view, you'll see plaster. Well, this will be a finished wall all the way to the ceiling, and it will stick out about 4 inches more than this piece here. Yeah. So we're going to do that. So at the moment, we need to put some more wood in here because obviously that's too much of a span. So we're going to need to use some form of framework in there to ensure that we can plasterboard all the way along here. And then obviously this will step out and we'll have a floor to ceiling framework put in there to house and hide the door returns. That's also got to be duplicated over here. So everything we're doing on this side, we've got to duplicate on that side. But I think you'll agree the doors look absolutely amazing. The one thing we do need to do which is a pain in the arse, is to hide that. So today I've got to try and work out how wide that is all the way along, and I've got to try and build some form of framework all the way along here that I can concrete board and hide that. So we ideally need to be coming down about maybe an inch into the door frame itself, so you still see the door frame, but you're seeing maybe 2 inches of it all the way along. So it's a shame, but we're going to lose that. But we're okay here. Obviously, we can silicone that in. By the time we actually do the packer part on there, that'll be okay here, so we can leave that as it is. But this lovely little white piece that cost us God knows how much money is going to get hidden. But what I'll do is I'll concrete board that, and I'll just put a skim over it, and it'll be painted. I'm not going to mess around with doing that again. It was too timely, too messy, and too costly. And I have to do the same on this one as well. So, and that boils down to me telling the guys do 8'2". But what they didn't take into the equation was they did that opening 8'2", not here. So now we've got 8'4", which means we get an extra 2 and a bit inches at the top. So it's ended up being an 8'4", 8'5" gap rather than an 8'2". So that's where our issues become. Plumbers are here, so I'm going to be driving him quite hard at the moment because he's got shed loads to do on his side. Hopefully, the biggest issue we're going to have with this door track is it sits in a pocket behind this wall, which means that we haven't actually got the width to build it sideways on the floor because it's longer than the room. So we're going to have to try and build it upright and slide it in, and then do the top piece and connect that, and also connect the other piece, and then obviously slide it around into place. It's going to be bloody hard to get this one in. But nothing so far in this job's been simple, so why would we expect it any different? But anyway, so Andrew's task, he's got a week to physically get that bit finished behind, to get into here to plasterboard and skim and paint this whole piece. So he's got his work cut out, that's for sure. As have I, fitting a kitchen and 2 bathrooms in a week. So we've all got our work cut out, but we're all up for the challenge. So fingers crossed, we'll try and get everybody working a bit in sync today. We can try and get things going. I might even get some of the actual labourers into the painting front, because things need to get moving, that's for sure. So it's only 9:10, so I'll update you as I go. Plenty to do. So we have to do the shower floors. They've all been done, but this one hasn't been cut out yet. The other one's been finished off. As you can see, it's been taken out. So we've actually taken out about 1/4, if not 1/2 inch, all the way down in here. Just touching a bit of rebar, obviously, which is not good. This has got to be re-drilled out back in again. And this is where technically the trough will sit. So we've got 3-foot troughs that will sit in here. But because that's not centre, that's got to be re-drilled. So next door has been done. Just need to now finish this one off. And then they'll actually screed this with like a little 3-inch lip into the trough, the same the other way. So I'll show you the before and after. Hopefully no rebar. Okay, and the after. So, big hole. There was a bit of rebar straight in the middle, obviously. So we just have to cut that out. Going from one side to the other. Now we're just going to trim this back. And then this trim itself will sit into the floor. Obviously we have to climb it level. That will be propped up level, and then that will become the gutter that everything is run to. So they might have to chase a little bit more out to get it where they want it to be. But to a certain extent, roughly, it is sitting where it needs to sit. And then there'll be a pipe connecting it from underneath. And the tilers will obviously screw that in. So that's the plan. Now just finish off the other bathroom. Okay, so 5 o'clock, let's have a quick update where we are. Bathroom shower elements taken down, a bit too far, but they're taken down. So it's meant to be 1/4 of an inch down to 3/4 of an inch, but it looks like it's gone a bit deeper. But anyway, the hole's actually been cut. This needs to be trimmed off. The shower trap will go in, and then we'll actually coat this and mould this into how we want it to be. Tiles will obviously be taken down afterwards, and then you have obviously the tile. The rubber itself will go up behind, the concrete will go up behind, and the tiles will come down over the top to create that rain protection. This is at another coat, so it looks like it's going to be sanded at some stage. Hopefully we can get that done tonight so I can actually start sticking some sweets in here. Obviously we've got some paint to go on the ceiling here. This bedroom has had more coats and plaster all the way around. It's obviously got to be sanded down and painted. And still going to be finished off, but the plug sockets have not been finished. So A, B and C have now been done, so now that can be plasterboarded, so that's obviously holding them back a little bit. In here, more boards are going up out of the living room. The sheets are flying up through here. That's all done now down here. The kitchen wall is done. And the kitchen ceiling is now going up as well. We have to leave these off because we've still got to do the support from the roof. This has not been done, not too sure why. So I need to put a fixture on that in a minute so we know exactly where the centre is. That might be the reason why, because that pipe moves left and right. So the guys might have left that out because they're not too sure exactly where that needs to go. So I'll laser that in a minute and I can tell the guys exactly where it needs to go. So they can actually build the framework around it. And once the wooden framework is around it, then we can actually then stick the board up. The framework on the first door's been done, so now the actual door is in. We've still got to finish the fixtures on the wall here to seal the window. But this framework is not screwed in at the moment, it's still loose. But it's actually up against the door itself, so we're going to put a plasterboard on the back of that. So we're going to plasterboard this. This is going to be plasterboarded. The back of this will be plasterboarded. And then that will be fixed into the floor. And the electrics will come through the top of that and will be in here. So obviously there's going to be light switches, etc. on this wall. So this cabling that's up here at the moment will end up coming into here. So that's pretty much done. And obviously what we've got to do now is the same at that end, obviously. The box has actually been done in the corner. The door frames, or the doors are laying around getting scratched. Not good. But the boxing has actually been done in this corner. So that's now ready for the door frame to go up against. And all that's been channeled out as well, so that's all good. This is all solid. Marine ply as well. So the door trap will be put in at some stage tomorrow, hopefully. And then we can start doing the same with that door as we've done with the other. The nails have been de-nailed up here, hopefully all the way along, which is good. Tomorrow we've got to look at putting some 2x2s on here all the way along and start building that down. I was going to go 4-inch, but I'm not going to do that now. So it's going to be dependent on whether we can actually clear it with the conduit, because some of the conduits coming out are very low, so we might have to be 4 inches on there. So we'll see. But anyways, you can see them here, look. So we need to analyse all of that to see whether that's going to land up being that height or we're going to go lower. The guys did work a little bit on the steps today, but I pulled them off because they're not urgent. The steps still need to be sorted out, obviously. So they had an awful job. Electricians are pretty much now up against everyone else. They can't do a great deal more, so we need to get our backsides in our order in order for them to continue. This needs to be done so they can cut the lights in here. The ceilings have got to be in so they can cut the ceiling holes. So where they're concerned, there's not a great deal they can do in here now until the plasterboard is up and the lights start getting cut in. This wall is going to be where the floor-to ceiling units are going to be. So that's pretty much what it needs to be as well. There's not a great deal more we can do on that. This has all been folded up. It needs to be skimmed, sanded and painted. This one still hasn't been done. I'm not too sure why. It's ready to be done all the way around in here. This is all done. In here, everything's done, so there's no point going in here again. These are all done, so all marked up, all ready to go. Bathroom, obviously, this has not had another skim, but we probably need to just make sure that there's no imperfections on this. This could probably just do with more paint. So once it's actually painted properly with another set of coats, then I'll start putting the bathroom suites in, so I'll probably get that started tomorrow. As you can see here, this one's been done very similar but smaller. The track itself, again, has been cut a little bit too low. I don't know why they keep going low. I set it as it needed to be, but now they've actually gone through and started making holes everywhere unnecessarily. So that was not needed. It needs to be about here. So now it's sitting down. So we have to put the feet on it, balance it up, and then concrete the whole thing in there. So before we do that, I've got to seal it with the sealant. It's a 2-stage sealant we put on here. That creates a rubber surface. That rubber surface will go all the way up the wall. Once that's off, then we can tile. So yeah, that's the aim for that. So I'll get that all cleared out tomorrow and start the wheels in motion on that. But we do need to get a slope going that way. So I'm not too sure. Looking at it, it actually gives you the impression it's actually running backwards. So I need to double check the actual measurements on there somehow. Get a level on it and just make sure it is definitely running. If it is, great. If not, I need to take some more off to make sure we get that run. And also we're going to be building up anyway. I just didn't want to, I did this so we didn't have to build up too much because I don't want to be stepping too high into the shower area. So that's one thing we've got to do. There's another set of tiles going all the way around, which we actually have. So they'll get finished off and then we can finish other bits off as well, and then I can get the suites in. And I'm going to build a cistern in the wall here, like I said earlier on. I'm going to take that from the shower screen down to about here, so there's some storage on top, shelving area. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do there. Other than that, we've still got to board in here. So that ideally needs to get done as well. And next week that can be done afterwards. This is the main priority. The main room in here is the main priority. This has become second priority after we start the wheels of motion on that. With regards to the back bit here, I was going to get a bit of glass made, but it's working out quite expensive. We have a window coming anyway. So I'm probably just going to get that boarded for now until we're ready to do what we want to do. Apart from that, it's just finishing off. Again, this needs to be done as well, so we need to get the U-channel on here. That all needs to be plasterboarded. So that needs to be done at both ends. Certainly part of the living room, so I want the whole living room and kitchen finished off. So I'll talk to them about that, make sure we get that done as well. And we've also got to do the middle support piece here. That's got to be completely boarded as well, from floor to ceiling, down the sides. And then on the other side, we're making a metal, probably about another foot and a half. Will go on the other side and come around and back again. So it will be a bigger square in the middle, but the other side will be boxed up. That's mainly to enclose the air conditioning holes that are in the floor. So we had 14 by 14s put in there. There's quite big holes here. So they will come up and fit in at some stage when we have air conditioning, they'll feed out to the living room that way. So this will probably come up to about another 20 inches. But that will be made out of the actual U-channel that he's actually got. So yeah, that's pretty much what we are so far. But that's it for the day, and we've got a bank holiday tomorrow, so none of the guys will be in apart from me. So we'll see how that goes. Also, just a quick one on the actual pumps themselves. This is what we've actually done. So we've actually got this little stone base made for the pump to sit on. The filters are now in place on both one side over there and here. The mains connections in to the main tanks themselves is connected, and that will go into the pump, and then eventually the pump will then connect straight to the main house. So that's how it will work at the moment. So yeah, eventually the mains will feed these two tanks. The pump will then take the water out of the two tanks into the house, but you can bypass the tanks should there be a problem. Obviously 2 filters, making sure that any form of grit or items are captured in one filter, and the other one is more about capturing limescale, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much how it's going to look in here.